Today, we're going to read a science article together. And by the end of this lesson, you're going to learn advanced vocabulary, learn advanced grammar, and improve your pronunciation. Welcome back to JForrest English. Of course, I'm Jennifer. Now let's get started. First, I'll read the headline. Astronauts have an unexpected ability that helps them fly through space. As you can see, it looks like this man is flying. He's definitely not sitting in a chair like I am. Now, a lot of students request science-based and space-based articles, so ask and you shall receive. First, let's look at the word unexpected. So astronauts have an ability, and unexpected is an adjective that tells you more about this ability. This is used for something that you didn't anticipate or didn't foresee. So you didn't think about it before it happened. For example, my boss gave me the day off. The day off means you don't have to work today. Woohoo! It was so unexpected. It being the situation, the fact that my boss gave me the day off. It was so unexpected. So here the structure is to be unexpected. So again, unexpected functions as the adjective. So you always have this ed and you need to conjugate your verb to be in the past simple because you're talking about it as a completed past action. Astronauts have an unexpected ability that helps them. So helps is being conjugated with ability, which is third person singular. It helps them, the astronauts, fly through space. So let's learn more about this unexpected ability. Don't worry about taking these notes. I summarize everything in a free lesson PDF. You can find the link in the description. Before we review the article, let's look at this sentence structure. It popped into my head. I just thought of it. I thought of it unexpectedly. When I was a kid, you could also say when I was a child. When I was a kid, I wanted to be, and this popped into my head because when I was a kid, most boys wanted to be astronauts. Astronauts, firemen, those were the two that I remember being most popular for boys. So what about you? When you were a kid, when I was a kid, I wanted to be. Now notice, if you're stating a job title, you need an article in front of the job title. I wanted to be an, if it starts with a vowel sound, an astronaut, a teacher. Now, would you believe that when I was a kid, I wanted to be a teacher? That was the very first thing I wanted to be, and now I am. So share your profession of choice when you were a kid. Share that in the comments. It will be so fun to find out. Now, let's review the article. Grounded on Earth, even the most uncoordinated humans can easily sense where our limbs are flapping about. Okay, first, grounded on Earth. This is just used in the sense that astronauts are not grounded on Earth. Of course, we all live on Earth. It's only astronauts that are not grounded on Earth. But they're starting with this to show the contrast that astronauts don't live like most people. Grounded on Earth, so you could just simply say on Earth. Grounded on Earth, even the most uncoordinated humans. If you're uncoordinated, it means you don't have a good sense of balance or ability to use your body in a very agile way. So if you're trying to walk across a very narrow area, you might fall. Or if you're trying to fix something with your hands, you might break it because you're not coordinated. Even the most uncoordinated humans can easily sense where our limbs are flapping about. Okay, flapping about is just when you're moving in a very random, erratic way. So if you saw a bird and maybe that bird was stuck, it might be flapping about, just moving itself or its wings in a very random, chaotic, erratic way to try to escape. And anyone with limbs, human, animal, can be flapping about. Now, limbs, these are, of course, all of our body parts, our arms, our legs, those are our limbs. Our limbs are flapping about, and if we're moving, falling, or sitting upright. So this is saying, even if you're very uncoordinated, you don't have a good sense of balance, you don't have a good ability to use your hands in a smooth way, you still know if you're moving, falling, or sitting upright. I'm sure you would agree with that. Are you enjoying this lesson? If you are, then I want to tell you about the Finally Fluent Academy. This is my premium training program where we study native English speakers from TV, the movies, YouTube, and the news so you can improve your listening skills of fast English, expand your vocabulary with natural expressions, and learn advanced grammar easily. Plus, you'll have me as your personal coach. You can look in the description for the link to learn more, or you can go to my website and click on Finally Fluent Academy. Now let's continue with our lesson. But take away gravity. So when you take something away, you remove it. This would be commonly used if you're at a restaurant and you finish with your plate. The server would come and would take it away. So would remove it. So that's the phrasal verb for remove. Going back to our restaurant example, you could say to the server, "Oh, you can take away this plate. I'm finished. I'm done." Native speakers will commonly just say to be done, which means the same thing as finish. I'm no longer using this plate. I'm done. I'm done. I'm finished. But take away gravity, remove gravity, or pop on a virtual reality headset. When you pop it on, it just means that you apply it, and it sounds like you do it quite quickly. So instead of saying put on, which also means to wear or apply, if you pop on, it just sounds like you're doing it quite fast. So if you remove gravity or wear a virtual reality headset and things get a little woozy. Oh, this is fun to say. Woozy, oozy, woozy. Woozy is usually used to mean dizzy. Oh, dizzy. I feel a little woozy. I need to sit down. So if you go on a roller coaster or even a boat with all the motion, or if you go into space, I'm sure you'll feel a little woozy. In this case, it means more unsteady or unstable rather than simply dizzy. But dizzy also does have that sense of unsteady, unstable. But this exact things get a little, I wouldn't replace woozy with dizzy, but I would say, and things get a little unsteady or unstable. But if you're talking about, oh, I feel, instead of saying I feel a little, a small amount, I feel a little dizzy, you could simply replace that with woozy, oozy, oozy. I feel a little dizzy. But in this case, I would replace it with unsteady or unstable. And that makes sense if there were no gravity. I have never worn a virtual reality headset. What about you? Have you? Do you feel woozy when you wear one? So it makes sense, definitely, if you take away gravity. Luckily, astronauts are pretty good at adapting to microgravity. Okay, notice how they use luckily. This is a great adverb. In this case, it's used to transition because all of this sounds negative. Well, the last part, things get a little woozy, unstable, unsteady. But if I use the word luckily, I know they're going to state something positive. So it's used to transition from a previous statement that was negative to go to a positive, and you can use luckily to show that transition. You can also say fortunately, which sounds a little more advanced. Luckily, astronauts are pretty good at adapting to microgravity. To be honest, I don't know what microgravity is. I'm going to guess micro generally means a small amount, so I'll assume that microgravity means a small amount of gravity. But since I'm not an astronaut, I've never been in space, this is not something I'm familiar with. I'm familiar with full gravity here on Earth. Adapting to microgravity when stationed aboard orbiting spacecrafts. So if they're stationed aboard, it means they're on a spacecraft like this man is right now. He probably feels a little woozy, I imagine. Okay, notice here, adapting to, when you adapt to something, it means you become comfortable, familiar with that, but to belongs to the verb. You adapt to something. Because of that, if there were a verb, it would be in the gerund form because to is a preposition. You can adapt to something, for example, space, that's a noun, something. Astronauts are pretty good at adapting to space, but if you want to use a verb, an action, you could say adapting to being in space. And you need the verb being because this too belongs to the verb, so you need a gerund. A new study has found no apparent changes in people's ability to gauge movement. Let's stop there. Apparent means obvious or observable. So if something is apparent, you can see it or it's very obvious. I could say, it's apparent you're angry if I'm talking to my husband or my friend and they're looking at me and their facial expression, or they're talking to me, fine, I'll do it. And I can say, it's apparent you're angry. It means it's obvious or observable. You can use this in lots of different contexts. For example, there is no apparent damage, but you should hire a plumber to confirm. So maybe you were doing some work in your bathroom and someone hit something near the toilet or the sink, and someone else says, oh, there's no apparent damage, so I can't visibly see any damage. But just because something isn't apparent, visible, it doesn't mean it isn't there. It's possible there's a very, very fine crack in a pipe that could lead to a lot of damage in the future. So you should hire a plumber to confirm because the plumber will investigate it. Now, gauge, listen to the pronunciation. Gauge, age. So just like age, what age are you? And just add a g, gauge. Gauge. This is to assess, estimate, or measure. This is very useful. For example, let's say you're going for a walk or a hike or a bike ride, but you're in the woods. You might say, oh, it's hard to gauge how far we've gone because all you see is trees. So it's hard to get a sense. It's hard to measure. It's hard to estimate how far you've gone. It's hard to gauge. So a new study has found no apparent changes in people's ability to gauge, to measure, or estimate movement while they're in space or after they touch back down. So to touch down, this means to land. And the use of back is simply because they were once on Earth, they left, and now they're returning. So that's when you use the word back. So the phrasal verb is to touch down, which means to land, and then they're just adding back to show that left and then return. The near absence of gravity alters astronauts' motion perception. The near absence. So this implies that there is some gravity, but a very small amount. Remember previously they described it as microgravity, which I had never heard. The near absence of gravity alters, which is a more advanced way of saying changes, astronauts' motion perception. This apostrophe is here because first it's astronauts plural, so it's they, but the apostrophe is to show possession when there's a plural noun, because the motion perception, their ability to perceive, that's where perception comes from, their ability to perceive motion, and it belongs to the astronauts. So put the apostrophe after the S to show possession with a plural noun. Astronauts' motion perception such that they feel like they're moving faster than they really are when zipping around their cramped, weightless quarters. In this context, quarters refers to one's living space or working space. We don't use this in an everyday context. I wouldn't say, where are your quarters, to ask you where do you live or where do you work. No, we don't use it like that. We use it in very specific cases. It would be common to say something like this: my office is being renovated, so right now we're in cramped quarters. So this lets you know that everyone who works in this office, they're all now working in a very small space. Oh, we're in cramped quarters because this renovation has taken away a lot of the available space. Now, you can use this for living or working space. So you could say my office, or you could equally say my house, my home, my apartment, my condo is being renovated. So right now we're in cramped quarters. We're all sleeping in the living room because the bedrooms are being renovated. So this is commonly used, but in very specific circumstances. This is one of the common circumstances. When you're traveling, that could be a great time to describe your living space as cramped quarters, maybe your hotel room, the airplane, or if you're on a train for hours or even in a car for hours, you could say, oh, it was cramped quarters. So they're zipping around, they're cramped, which means there are a lot of people or things in a small space. That would describe it as cramped. Zipping around means moving around very quickly. And maybe this article used zipping around to say moving around quickly because remember, we're talking about astronauts. And right now we're talking about when they're in space. So you don't walk when you're in space, you fly, you zip around, you move quickly. So this emphasizes it and makes it sound stronger than just saying move around quickly. When zipping around, they're cramped, weightless quarters. Weightless because there's no gravity, or there's microgravity, near absence of gravity. And yet they can still accurately judge how far they've traveled down a hallway in visual simulations, the study found. One way our bodies determine changes in position is through the swishing of fluids contained deep inside each ear. So swish, so here's water here. So right now the water is just in a still position, but this would be, so the movement of the water is swishing. Sometimes we use this if it is raining and you have water in your shoes or boots, and as you walk, the water moves around in your shoe or boot. So you could say, oh, the water is swishing in my shoes. So in your ear, the water is moving, likely because your head is constantly moving deep inside each ear. Let's continue. The health impacts of spaceflight are a huge focus of space missions, particularly as space agencies such as NASA and countries such as China gear up to send astronauts to Mars. Gear up means prepare. So as NASA and China prepare, it's they prepare. That's why it's conjugated in the third person, plural. They prepare to send astronauts to Mars. Gear up is very commonly used, especially in a business context. You can use it, for example, I'm gearing up. So I'm preparing because it's a verb to gear up. You conjugate your verb with the subject and time reference. I'm gearing up for my IELTS. I'm preparing for my IELTS. You could also prepare to do something. You can gear up to do something. So you prepare for plus noun, and then you gear up, prepare to in the infinitive. I'm gearing up. Do you know what I would do to change this to use to? I'm gearing up to take my IELTS. Hopefully you didn't say to pass my IELTS, because take is the verb choice you need to say that you do the actual exam. I'm gearing up to take my IELTS for my IELTS. So that's definitely something you should gear up for. Now, interestingly, gear, the word gear means equipment. Astronauts, they have a lot of gear. They have their helmet, they have their entire spacesuit, they have a lot of gear, equipment. So one astronaut could say to another, let's gear up, which means let's put on our gear, our equipment. So if you work in a job where you wear a lot of equipment, you can say to your coworker, let's gear up, let's put on our gear, our equipment. So that's a fun thing that a native speaker would definitely say. Shortly after spaceflight, astronauts slightly overestimated distance in the visual task when lying down compared to sitting upright before their mission, although those differences later disappeared. Remember, this is a study that shows how astronauts' ability to perceive space and movement change before and after spaceflight. So they're saying there was only a slight difference before or after. If you overestimate something, it means you think it's greater than it is. If you underestimate something, you think it's less than it actually is. For example, many people overestimate how scary speaking in public is. They make it sound a lot scarier than reality. So in their mind, it's more than reality in terms of scariness. But many people underestimate how important preparing for a job interview is. Oh, I'll just go to the job interview rather than taking the time to prepare. They underestimate. They do less than what is needed in reality. So very useful words to have in your vocabulary. On average, however, the astronaut's perception, so again, now you know why this apostrophe is after the S, possessive for a plural noun. The astronaut's perception, the perception belongs to the astronauts. The astronauts' perception of distance did not change significantly during their time in space, nor 1 week after their return. So they're saying, this study is saying, again, there wasn't a big difference in this perception before they went to space and when they came back. Let's look at nor, because this is something that confuses a lot of students and even native speakers. So notice here we have did not change significantly, nor 1 week after. So we have a negative, and then for your next clause, your next part of the sentence, you can use nor to show it's also negative. So here's your clue. Did not change, And then your next part is also a negative, so you can use nor. Another common structure is to use neither nor. When you use neither, your verb or whatever comes next is positive because neither is what makes it negative. So notice in this case, did not, this is the negative, but you can still use the negative nor for the next one. In this case, it's the astronaut's perception of distance, exact same, but instead of did not change, we just replace the word did not with neither. So let me write this here. You can say neither or neither. There are two acceptable pronunciations, neither, neither. Of distance, neither, but you have to turn this to change because did is your past simple in the negative. So now because I'm only using the verb, I have to conjugate the verb accordingly. And in this case, it's the past simple. Neither changed. And then exact same, significantly during their time in space, nor 1 week after their return. So an easy way to get started is to use neither because it's a good reminder that it pairs with nor. And that's the end of our article. So now I'll read the article from start to finish and you can focus on my pronunciation. Astronauts have an unexpected ability that helps them fly through space. Grounded on Earth, even the most uncoordinated humans can easily sense where our limbs are flapping about and if we're moving, falling, or sitting upright. But take away gravity or pop on a virtual reality headset and things get a little woozy. Luckily, astronauts are pretty good at adapting to microgravity when stationed aboard orbiting spacecrafts. A new study has found no apparent changes in people's ability to gauge movement while they're in space or after they touch back down. The near absence of gravity alters astronauts' motion perception such that they feel like they're moving faster than they really are when zipping around their cramped, weightless quarters. And yet they can still accurately judge how far they've traveled down a hallway in visual simulations, the study found. One way our bodies determine changes in position is through the swishing of fluids contained deep inside each ear. The health impacts of spaceflight are a huge focus of space missions, particularly as space agencies such as NASA and countries such as China gear up to send astronauts to Mars. Shortly after spaceflight, astronauts slightly overestimated distance in the visual task when lying down compared to sitting upright before their mission, although those differences later disappeared. On average, however, the astronauts' perception of distance did not change significantly during their time in space, nor 1 week after their return. Did you enjoy this lesson? Do you want me to make more lessons just like this? If you do, then put let's fly, put let's fly in the comments below. And of course, make sure you like this lesson, share it with your friends, and subscribe so you're notified every time I post a new lesson. And you can get this free speaking guide where I share 6 tips on how to speak English fluently and confidently. You can click here to download it or look for the link in the description. And I have another lesson I know you'll love, so make sure you watch it right now.